Welcome to Scrappy to Scalable, the podcast where we explore human-centered AI designed to level the playing field, empowering small and mid-sized businesses to compete with the giants.
I'm really excited about today's guest, who is Stephanie Warlick, the powerhouse founder of 5 Foot View Consulting, a firm reshaping how small and mid-sized businesses access executive leadership. With over 30 years of experience leading operations, HR, and finance, including overseeing $150 million in federal contracts, Stephanie brings an unmatched blend of strategic insight and hands-on execution. She's not just a consultant. She's a fixer, stepping in for COO, CHRO, and integrator roles to architect scalable AI-augmented systems that work. Hello, Stephanie. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to chat with you. My business partner, Mike, and I chatted with you early in the week, and we were really blown away by everything that you're doing right now. So give me a little bit of a 30,000 foot view of your company and why you started it.
Yeah, I started it because I have a passion for supporting small businesses, but I get bored pretty easily. And while I've spent the last 2 years supporting small businesses and having a grand time doing exactly what I love, I've recently expanded into adding 41 fractional executives so that we can hit all industries and all sizes of markets, scaling beyond my immediate passion to hitting the passion of all the experts. The 30,000 foot view is that strategic view way up here. That's what a lot of consultants perform for clients. Most of my experts, as well as I, am really at the down in the weeds, the 5 foot view, the tactical execution people working side by side with founder-led, with business owners, with other executives to get the job done.
I was really impressed with what you had on your website. You get in the weeds a little bit. You're not afraid to actually get your hands dirty and do some of this work.
I'm not. That's what I love to do. It's funny. One time while I was in government contracting, I was relatively new. And by the way, all roles that I served outside of my own small business were custom crafted for me. I would be recruited by an outside or external recruiter, and the leadership would say, we just want your skills and abilities, and you're going to come in and we're going to craft this role for you. So I had a role that was an FP&A role. I'd never been in finance before. Turns out I loved it. I was great at seeing the story behind finance and budgets. I love that goal of saying, this is what we have to reach, or this is what we have to stay below, and fixing that. In that particular role, someone came to me and said, hey, I know that you're not part of customer service, but from what I've seen, you fix things and you get things done. Can you help me with this and help me get through to leadership on this thing we need to solve? And I did it. And so I love being known as the fixer and the problem solver. And I think that I am the fixer and the problem solver because I usually approach things with an owner mindset. Having been a small business owner, I know what needs to be done, and I'm usually thinking several steps ahead of even my leaders and managers that I've had because of the experiences that I've had the fortunate experience to hold.
Can I ask you a little bit about that process? Like, what is your process? Like, how do you figure out what the problem is? How do you get a solution, and how do you implement? Like, because I think that's one of the hardest parts is like getting down to the actual problem instead of the symptom. So what's your process in that?
Yeah, that's interesting. There are several processes that are really, frankly, root cause analysis. I think what I have observed is that the fix of a problem is usually pretty clear. It was a misstep or an inaction by someone not following a process, or there wasn't a defined process. So we're always looking at people, process, systems. So the fix is not always the difficult part. The difficult part in evaluating and being the fixer is identifying the root cause. Looking for the root cause is critical to not repeating things that we know are going to fail, and documenting processes so that we can repeat successful outcomes. So again, usually a fix kind of comes through brainstorming and collaboration. I would say that in most fixes, again, it's pretty clear. We know what needs to be done. It's usually because someone didn't take a process or action correctly. But circling back to the beginning, root cause analysis is critical.
Well, it seems like over the last couple of months, you've actually started a new venture with fractional executives. So you started that, you launched that in August, correct?
I did. So I've been serving as a fractional CHOO and integrator, which is equivalent to COO in the EOS world, for 2 years. I started 5-foot view in between July and September of 2023. For the new initiative came on the heels of adding AI services, assessment and services, and also recognizing that I was turning away business. Like the business side of me was like, it was like killing a part of my soul. As a leader, I believe in skills-based teams and that it's growing teams and having a wide variety of skills and abilities that make a well-rounded team. But also the HR side of me says that I know that we're stronger as a team, and diversity in teams is imperative to come up with all the brilliant ideas. And so I was like, okay, I'm not only giving away the business, but I can tackle things better and more strongly for my clients and support my clients and add more value if I bring people that are usually smarter than me to the table, to my team. So that's when I posted an ad at LinkedIn. I had 400 resumes in 20
Wow.
hours.
That
It
is
was it was
crazy.
overwhelming. I ended up extending 50 offers. My initial plan was 20, but there was so much brilliance in so many industries across all the C-suite. I just couldn't say no. And they wanted to be a part of it. And each one of those folks recognized the same values that I did, and that is we're stronger as a team. And so here we are, and there's an amazing group of people that are ready to hit the market.
Fractional executive leadership. Like, tell me a little bit more about why you wanted to do that, why you think that is really a valuable service that you're offering to some of
Yeah.
these businesses.
I think there's so many reasons why it's exploding right now. I mean, I know you've looked at some stats. I did as well. I was reading that the number of fractional executives between 23 and 24 doubled and went up to 120,000 fractional executives that are known right now out there. So just that explosion is incredible. There are
Wait,
several things that
can I ask you a question about that? Do you
yeah.
think that that is because the fundamentals of the market are changing, or is it like, okay, I'm retiring, and or I lost a job, or they reshuffled, or there's restructuring, and then
Mhm.
they're looking for work, but they're not necessarily wanting to do full-time work, or like what do you think that trend is?
Yeah. So don't let me forget the first question you asked me, but I'll go to this one.
Any question, answer all of them.
So yes, there's lots of trends. Of course, everybody's circumstance is different. For me personally, I am not a big corporate person. I don't like being in the middle of a system where I can't see the beginning of the end. I want to touch every part of the process and I want to feel that success. I want to know that I was a contributor. And I didn't feel that in the corporate space. So for me personally, and there's other folks that feel that way, they're just not big business people. There are tons of people getting laid off. You know, I'm in the DC area, and civil servants that have served 20 to 30 years with brilliant experience for our country no longer have jobs at a moment's notice. So you've got all of that brilliance and wisdom out there that are trying to find jobs and figure out what to do, but they've got brilliance and expertise and are looking for a home. It's a natural transition to say, let me consult if I can't find a job, because there are companies that will hire them as individuals. You've got companies that are laying other folks off. And what I'm seeing is the younger generation, while we might get people that are hard workers, which some people say the younger generation is not as devoted as my generation or even the boomer generation. The
Hey, wait, be nice.
Right, right. Well, I mean, it's true, but for a good reason, right? They've learned what we didn't learn. My generation didn't learn, and that is that there's something more to life than working. And they really truly embody this kind of concept of work-life balance. I've decided I'm going to call it the work-life like dance. I think somebody called it a dance, or I'm going to say it like this. It's just there's never really going to be this concept of I don't know about balance. It ebbs and flows. And
Yeah.
especially if you're a consultant or a small business owner, there's going to be times where you're working like a dog, and there's going to be times where you can take off and go to a play in the afternoon or whatever the case may be. And you just have to be okay with that balance. But the younger generation, if they're interested in working the 40-hour work week that we have in the United States 5 days a week, and many people are being called back to the office, they don't want to be leaders and managers. They don't want the extra responsibility. So again, we've got people, oh, I didn't mention, we've got people retiring. We've got people retiring. So you've got wisdom and expertise on the top side. You've got middle managers getting laid off. You've got younger folks that don't want to work, that all are demanding this need for expertise and leadership. You've got all of these other people that are being laid off that need a home and a place to go. And then you've got people that are just saying, I'm done with corporate. I survived this COVID thing. I have survived this work from home and this return to office thing. I am done. And most of the experts that we're working with are between 45 and 55. You've got someone on both ends, but we're done. We're like, there's got to be something more to life than grinding it out 80 hours a week in the corporate office. And when you can take the brilliance that you have, this expertise and this wisdom, and share it with your clients, and not only one client, you can share it with many clients as a fractional expert, it really feels so good. So I think all of those factors are driving the desire for the people to be in this role, and it's lucrative.
Yeah, I think that I love that idea that you said that it's really seeing the final product out there and you had influence on that. I'm sure that must feel really good
Yeah.
when you're stepping into a company and you're like riding the ship and they're either producing a product or they're producing something and you
Yeah.
actually get to see it done and see it in a better light. It must be really satisfying.
I thought I do. I mean, there's other people that don't care, right? So again, there's all sorts of personality types out there. And personally, I'm competitive and I was an athlete. So it is like winning a race. It's like there's this you train, you put your effort towards something and you can see the success and win. And so helping a client achieve that goal and objective and turn something around and watch it from beginning to end is like it's just like winning a game. It's so fun to me.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, it seems like that would be a perfect fit for these businesses too. Talk a little bit more about the type of businesses that need these type of services.
All businesses. I'll start there, but I'll give you some examples. So definitely startups, new businesses that can't afford a C-suite executive, but they're going to scale quickly and they need a fractional to provide the guidance and expertise that often a small business owner doesn't have. Small business owners, the Peter principle, you've got the artisan or the sales guy that says, I can go run that business. But then they're like, crap, I had no idea. What do you mean sales tax and we'd have to market and how do I run Canva and post on social media? I mean, there are so many aspects to running a business that new owners don't have any experience in. So scaling small businesses and startups. Maybe those are private equity, small businesses and startups. Maybe it's a company that is getting ready to go through the big change from small to medium. And that's a big jump. That's super painful. Only scale businesses that get to, let's say 40 million and 50-ish people and hey, you can't just yell down the hall to people anymore and say, hey, let's do this and nothing's documented because now there's just too many hands and cooks in the kitchen and something's going to break and fail. So that's another big transition time. Then you've got, as I said, mergers and acquisitions that sometimes need just extra help for the culture change, the transition, performing due diligence. And we're talking about people that are experienced in your specific industry, which is amazing. It's not just a general consultant or not to the greatness of some of the consultants that are out there, those young go-getters that are coming out of school, but we're not talking about theory here. We're talking about individuals that have run businesses, have rolled up their sleeves, have remortgaged their homes, know what it is like to be an owner, and put everything into a business. And then, of course, there's the transition to sale or closing down a business. And if you're going to prepare a company for sale, there's work that needs to be done to get it ready.
Let's go back to the startups.
Sure.
They need the expertise of somebody who has been in the trenches. I'm
Yeah.
sure that invaluable to a company that needs that kind of information, needs that kind of
Yes.
leadership.
Yeah.
When they're looking at their employees and who they need, is it like across the board the types of fractional leadership that you provide?
5 Foot View has all levels of the CXO suite, and many individuals that have expertise in multiple areas, just like I have been a COO or a CHRO. The need for the particular company is dependent on the set that is already existing there. So again, you've got sometimes a business owner, and maybe they're a fantastic numbers person, and they're not ready to give their books over to someone. And first of all, an owner, founder led company, and again, most of my experience is owner, founder led. It's really difficult to turn over your baby, your business to someone else, hiring those next people, delegating, relinquishing. So we all know that pain and that fear of turning over the books, the marketing, the whatever it is. But it does depend. So maybe again, you're a great salesperson and you know how to knock it out of the park with business development and sales, but you have no idea how to hire people or how to file the compliance laws of state by state. Or maybe you are really great marketer but you're like, but accounting,
That would be
I have
that
to
would
tell some, right? Numbers scare the devil out of them. And maybe you're like, I have this great idea of this product I want to make, but you have no idea how to actually manufacture it and move it through the supply chain. So the need that each small business have really does depend on the resources that are already available.
I was saw that 51% of all of the businesses under 100 million are owned by baby boomers. And there's going to
Oh.
be, they call it the silver tsunami, where these people are going to want to retire. What do you think a fractional leadership person could do in terms of getting a business ready for sale?
So if the company was going to be ready for a great sale, I would say as an owner, I don't want to buy a dinosaur. I want to buy what's coming up next. Your clients are great. I want the clients, I want the patients, I want the whatever it is, but maybe I'm just buying a client list then and I don't really need to buy the business. Or I talked to a merger and acquisition sale guy yesterday because we do some strategic partnerships. And he told me the number one thing he sees is that the books are a mess,
Mm.
that, they're often done still in, paper ledgers with the older
No,
generation.
you're
Yeah.
kidding me.
No. He said sometimes it takes a whole year to get the books in order. So you think you're profitable, but when you document everything, put it into the system, there's not really as much profitability as they think. But nobody's going to buy a not automated accounting system in this year.
That honestly,
Right.
that is
So
seriously shocking to me that they do it in paper.
yeah. And let's just say, here's another example. I learned this the number one failure of mergers and acquisitions is the lack of culture and people integration. So if a company is going to buy another company from, let's say, the Silver Tsunami and bring them into their existing culture and bring in some of those experts that already exist in that company, you've got to work early to work on change management and mindset for those people and look at the various systems between the two companies. And are we going to keep this system or are we going to keep this system? Okay, we've got two people in this role. Do we need both people? Can we find a place for both people or does somebody need to move on? So there's that might be an HR person that is really great in that role. So there are a variety of roles. It really does depend on the circumstance of the existing company.
You had mentioned AI just a second ago, and I'm going to kind of spend a lot of time on that because that's one of our primary focuses on our company. When you're talking to owners, what is the mindset shift that owners, founders need to make when it comes to automation? Because I am finding that a lot of people don't know where to start. So tell me a little bit about your experience with talking to owners about automation.
My experience is that owners and founders are not afraid. Owners and founders are visionaries. They are, let's go, let's do it. They're innovative. They're ready for that. The problem is the staff mindset. The
That's very
staff and employees that are fearing their jobs being taken over. Having been and I'm so excited about this AI topic as well. I'm going to finish a certification that I'm thrilled about in the next couple months. There will be data science, level one implementation, and business AI. It's not just about theory, it's taking all those business processes that I've written or rewritten and re-engineered over the years and AIifying them, but maybe looking at automation. So I'm super excited to add that because I love small business so much. It's so critical that small businesses get on this bandwagon. I really feel like if they don't get on the bandwagon now and start preparing, and even now, when I say now, I mean literally now,
today. Start.
today, to put it into their 2026 budget that they're going to be working on for their next couple months so that they can start working on it in 26. Because by the end of the decade, they're going to get eaten up by somebody else that's just going to take over. As an HR person, believe so much in people and the value of the people and that being the biggest differentiator that a company has. I also have a healthy, not fear, but a healthy distrust of AI, as we all should. We should all approach things with mitigating risk and identifying what could go wrong. But if we do that with a human in the loop process and we start with assessments that are people driven. And if I can get AI to take that automation, I don't have to work this weekend, or I don't have to work 10 hours a day and miss my kid's game. Or, oh, by the way, I don't have to work vacations anymore. That's what I want AI to do for people. And that's the mindset that I'm hoping that they'll see, is that it doesn't need to take your job. Let's just make your job easier and get rid of the mundane tasks and the repetitive tasks.
I
Let's
feel
give it to
like
the
that is
machines.
I feel like that is the two things that automation really facilitate: efficiency and growth. Because if you want to be more efficient and you have a good AI tool in there, it can save you hours and hours and hours, which translates to, in the long run, translates to months off the time that you would be spending in a 1 year doing this specific task.
Yeah,
It's astounding once you take it over the long term of the company, how much of an impact that can have. Then the second thing is, like, if you are a startup and you're lean, you don't have a lot of staff, AI can really facilitate a lot of those hats that you have to wear as an owner. And
totally.
you have an automation do some of the counting, some of the HR, some of this, and that, all of that stuff. You can have automation do that for you and save so
Absolutely.
much time and headache doing that.
Absolutely. I'll give you two samples to support what you just said. I was on vacation a week or two ago in my favorite place, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and I showed my dad, who went to law school, how to use ChatGPT for the first time. And what he was trying to accomplish, basically, he had to identify some possible code that needed to be written for a state that he was working with. And he said, okay, well, let's ask it what the code is for X and such in these other states and synthesize that so that I could propose a possible code for this state. I put in the prompt because I know how to do prompt engineering, not that hard, but there are some basics that, need to be learned to do it correctly. I have a couple different large language models that I choose to use for different circumstances and different types of writing. I put it in, and in 8 seconds, 3 pages of code were put out. And he almost had a heart attack. He was like, oh my God, that would have taken me hours and hours to write. And he started reading. He was like, this is good. And I said, yeah, Dad, it's good. I said, you do need to validate it. You do need to make sure that it's okay. But he was like, oh my God. He was like, the briefs that I spent weeks writing in the past. It's like, I can't even believe it. So I said, yep. But again, you got to know, not everything that you see in writing is true.
Exactly.
You need to validate it. If I really want to, um, even preparing for this, when I wanted to grab some additional statistics for you, I went to a couple different models. I wanted to verify some statistics that I had in my head, and I asked it several times, show me the source for this statistic, show me the source, validate, show me this is valid, because it can hallucinate, and it will. The large language models are getting smarter, and they will make up information if they can't find the data that you're looking for. So
Yep.
we are going to get to a point where it's going to be like fake news at some point, because it's going to just keep trying to serve us and make us happy and give us the information that we're looking for. So you do need to validate it. And I do that through a couple different sources. But that's what I mean about, like, that whole concept of trust but verify. But if it's going to save you several hours, why not?
Well,
Why
here's the
not?
thing. Like, it is unrealistic for an owner to think, oh, I'm going to implement this AI tool and then I'm done. I don't have to do anything else ever again.
Abs-
That is not the mentality of adopting AI. You have to have
Correct.
checks and balances and make sure it's producing what you want to progress.
We talk about small and medium businesses. They're not even doing proper data collection or storing or have what's called clean data. So they have to start doing that now so that they can be ready in a couple of years. When I say start AI now, I'm not saying get a whole bunch of tools. I'm saying mentally prepare, train your people, get your data ready. That's what has to happen now. And let's start with an assessment so that you understand what that roadmap looks like for the next 2 years, 3 years, whatever it may be. There are my course that hopefully I get the statistic right, but I believe that my instructor said that there's something. I I feel like he said 134,000 certified people in the world. This particular organization gets 15,000 requests a month for businesses to get AI assessments.
Wow.
We saw some numbers that it was going to be like 50 years before all the businesses had the experts available to even help them get ready. So if we take that and we extrapolate that against medical devices, supply chain and manufacturing. I mean, we can't even get manufacturing done in the United States well right now because of the lack of people. Hopefully AI and automation can help some of that, but we have a lack of people in industry. So I think that there are other factors that are going to contribute to stalling this particular process is kind of my answer why I think.
That is very fascinating. I mean, it's very, very true. It's like it has to be people forward, like people first,
Absolutely.
then supplement their skills with AI. Totally agree with you. It cannot just be a machine or a robot. Like it has to be people first. And I think that if owners and founders think of it as people first with a really amazing tool that you can supplement all of their skills with, like I
Yes,
think that is where you're going to get a lot of success with these owner and founders.
that's right. I agree.
Well, tell me a little bit about your favorite thing about your business. Like what is the thing that you love about 5 Foot View?
Love helping small businesses find success. I love it. I love small business. So now adding these fractional executives to 5 Foot View is me helping these 41 people grow their individual businesses. I mean, the fact that I can impact the success for each of them and take the years of experience and the bumps and the bruises and the good and the bad and help them learn because we all have different, and I learn from them. I love learning. Like I said, I get kind of bored really fast. So the more I can learn and absorb, and I told my mom yesterday, I wish I was an octopus and I need a couple more brains because I can't like I want to be doing like this all the time. I can't get it all done and there's not enough time in the day. But that's what I love. I love helping the small businesses. And then there's other people on my team that have only ever worked in enterprise and love enterprise and don't want to go anywhere near a startup or small business. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the 5 Foot View Collective is that there's all different shapes and sizes and skills and abilities and industries so that we could serve whoever has that need. And there's more than enough work for all of us.
So that makes it so attractive for a lot of different types of businesses with your company. Like you can say, all right, we're a mid-sized business, we're going to expand, we need help. And then you can provide them the solution for that. And then you also
Yeah,
have the other side of it where it's like, I'm bootstrapping everything and we're getting to that point where we're going to launch. We need help with that. So I think it's a really
absolutely.
smart way to customize your services based
Yeah.
on your client. It's
It is. And so you can hire on a fractional basis. Some people don't know what fractional means. So maybe I should cover that for just a
Yeah,
moment.
tell me.
Fractional is part time. A fractional executive is normally engaged anywhere from 5 to under 20 hours. It could be a full time engagement for a period of time. Let's say somebody's going out on maternity leave. I need a fractional executive for the next 3 months while my CMO is out. No problem if you don't have the staff to back that up. I'm a big believer in redundancy for continuity of operations. So having experts that have been there and done that to be able to come in and support the business is imperative. But it's a part-time executive that comes in at a fraction of the cost. You're not paying for the benefits. You don't have any to worry about golden handcuff contracts. You don't have to worry about, "Oh, I just hired this person for 350,000 and what if I don't like him next week?"
Mm,
All of that is off the table because it's a contract position, and it really gives you the opportunity to try people out. People can move from fractional into a full-time position. I've seen that happen, and that's a beautiful thing when that marriage between that executive and the company work out for both parties. But really, it's so cost effective for small, medium businesses and for scaling other enterprise businesses.
it kind of seems like a win-win for the executives too. We're like, hey, I'm only going to be here for 3 months. I hate it and good luck. And then they take it back. Or they're like, this is brilliant company. And then they invest in the vision. And they're like, I want to
Absolutely.
be here longer than 3 months. I think it could be a win-win for both people.
So I have one client that I adore. Well, I love all my clients, but my first client, my longest client, I'm still working with them. And our model has changed. We've done retainer, project, and hourly back and forth over the course of the 2 years. And he values the services that I provide, and I love working with them. So that's just, one example. There's all different types of ways to work with fractionals. I love it.
What do you think is the biggest myth about fractional work?
The consultants are expensive. I think when you While I do think that there is a value to a person with 30 years of experience, and they certainly cost more than somebody coming out of school with no experience, they're significantly less expensive and less commitment and less risk than hiring a full-time executive.
That's a pretty good myth to bust. That seems like a good one. There's a couple other ones like AI only applies to tech companies.
Oh God. Who
That's
said that?
silly. I know.
No. AI. So let's talk about that definition also. And as AI company, maybe you guys talk about this, but people think automation is AI. They're very different. Automation can work with AI, and AI can work with automation. And that's what an agent is. It takes automation of different services and orchestrates them and pulls them all together, but they're different. So right now, people might know Calendly. That's a super common tool, SaaS product, software as a service product that we use that schedules our calendar, or maybe somebody has a different calendar invite thing. That's automation. It moves information. It doesn't make any decisions. When we move to AI, we're talking about things that help move and make decisions. So if this, then that. And so any company that has a process of moving information and needs to make a decision, customer comes in as a lead on our website. If the lead says, I'm interested in flowers, route this to the flower department. Automation, flower department gets it and says, I can do A or B with this. Then we start to get into AI. And then, oh, by the way, let's take that information and record it into our CRM tool because of this new lead that just came in. That's automation. So any company that's doing sales, I don't even know how to give the list. All companies are probably already using some form of automation and can use AI if they want to gain efficiency.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, if somebody wants to work with you, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
My website is really the best way because we have developed a very thoughtful expert page where it's really like a virtual catalog where someone can go and shop the virtual experts that are available, search by CXO position, and we have all of the service levels detailed about what we would do and how it benefits the individual. So my website is 5footview.com. That is the best place.
5footview.com. Awesome. Stephanie, thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed chatting with you. And I know that you are going to be massively successful because you are the real deal.
Thank you, Philippe. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again. And we will see you guys on the next podcast.
See you next time.